2024. How do we plan for 2024? Is our business going to get to the next level? Are we going to start our business? Are we going to start making serious money in 2024? Well, the biggest thing that you need to do is you need to plan for 2024. And right now, I'm going to tell you exactly how I plan every year for 2024. I call this my business planning workshop. I do it for every business that I have, and I'm going to walk you step by step on how you can do this with your business, or if you haven't even started a business yet, how you can plan ahead so when you do start your business in 2024, you will be successful. So let's hop in here. I have 6 things that I do every single year, and it is super important that you do these things. Number 1, we need to commit to growth. If you ain't growing, you're shrinking. Okay? If you're not committed to growing your business, we'll probably do the same that we did last year. It might be a hard year next year. You have to be committed to growth. You have to have a growth mindset, because if you just want to do what you did last year, that doesn't excite you, that doesn't motivate you, that doesn't get you up and get you going. You have to commit to saying, hey, this year, I am going to grow. I am going to get bigger. I am going to get wealthier. I am going to potentially start another business. I'm going to grow my business. I am going to improve, because if you're not planning on improving, that is not exciting, and you will not find success from remaining where you are. And let's face it, inflation is rampant. You cannot stay where you're at and have an amazing life. If you want to get to that next level, you want to take the nice trips, the nice vacation, the nice clothes, everything, you have to grow. You have to grow your business. So commit to growth. Number 2 here, we need to understand and review the past, okay? So if you own a business, even if you don't own a business, you need to create a profit and loss statement. So a P&L, that's what it's called, profit and loss statement. And what a P&L shows is your revenue minus your expenses all the way down to your profit, your cash flow, right? For the entire year, from 1/1 to 12/31, you're printing off that P&L. And what you're going to do is you're going to look at the revenue you brought in. That's great. But what you're really going to want to dive into is categorizing your expenses on needed expenses and wanted expenses. Needed expenses are, hey, I needed to purchase that piece of equipment for my business, because if I didn't purchase it, I wouldn't be able to make money. Okay, great. A want business is, I bought the really nice truck when I could have bought a lower model. That probably cost me 10 grand, right? So you're going to be categorizing your expenses so you can understand where you were from your expense standpoint. How much did you spend in wants? How much did you spend in needs? If you would have minimized your wants, how much more profit would you have added in your business? Okay, so and if you don't have a business, you need to be printing off your bank statements every single month and put them in an Excel sheet of your total income from your job or wherever and your expenses, and try to categorize your expenses. It may be harder, but if you have a credit card, your credit card company should be able to do it for you. They automatically categorize it. So what you need to do is you need to dive into there and say, okay, this is what we cash flowed this year. This is what we saved, right? So you brought in $8,000 a month. You had $3,000 or $5,000 of expenses or $6,000 of expenses. We saved $2,000. So we saved $24,000 a month or in the year. How can we get to the next level? Is our income going to increase? How can we increase our income? That's kind of going into number 3 here. Number 3 is we need to create our future. In this same P&L document, we're going to add another column to the right or a column to the left. And what we're going to do is we're going to put a revenue goal on the top. So I always put my revenue goal. I have 2 types of revenue goals. I have a reasonable one, which is 30% for me. Our business should go up 30%. And then I have a stretch goal, which is usually double the revenue that I did, right? So I have 3 columns. What I did last year, my reasonable goal, and my stretch goal. Because it's important to have a stretch goal, because it really starts getting you thinking of, okay, if I'm going to hit this revenue goal, what employees do I need to bring on? What systems do I need to buy? What equipment do I need to buy? How am I going to get to that? What's going to be on my marketing budget? What do I need to do differently for me to double my business, right? So that's one thing that really pushes me. So when I go into the revenue, I put the revenue over there on the reasonable and the stretch goal. And then throughout the expenses, I do raise my expenses in key areas, right? So if next year we're planning on bringing on another employee, maybe 2, maybe 3 employees, okay, great. So what's that going to look like from a salary perspective? What am I anticipating paying those positions, and what's that going to look like? Okay, I have salesmen on my team. What are the salespeople going to make next year? What did they make last year? What can they reasonably produce this year to raise our revenue? How much can I expect out of them to contribute to this stretch goal and this reasonable goal? So I'm factoring in those expenses. Well, if I have those expenses, I'm going to have more health insurance that I have to match as an employer. I'm going to have more expenses from an office perspective because I got to buy laptops, cell phones, chairs, all this stuff. So I'm factoring in all those expenses. So the profitability, I can narrow down and say, okay, my profitability has increased half of what I thought it really would. So from that perspective, sorry about that, but from that perspective, you're looking at your profitability and you're saying, okay, if I were to expand, if I were to grow my business, is the expenses going to outweigh the profit? And is that a short-term problem, right? Because a lot of people think, okay, would you rather make $10 million and profit $1 million, or would you rather make $5 million and profit $1 million, right? I would probably say, hey, I would rather make $5 million and profit 1, but that's the wrong answer. Because if you made 10 and you profited 1, that means you made some really hardcore sticks in the stand where you're like, hey, this is what we're going to do. We're going to bring on staff, and we're not going to necessarily see the profit this year, but our revenue will grow up, and then you can scale that profit. It's easier to add profit to a $10 million business than it is to add profit to a $5 million business because you have more revenue to work with, okay? So a little long-winded on number 3 there, but specifically, how are you going to hit those goals? Are you going to have to hire people? And before you start a business, you should always be doing this. You should always be running that pro forma. I call it a 12-month pro forma, which is you're looking forward 12 months. What are we going to do? What is going to be our expenses? And then what you're going to do is you're going to, number 4 here, you're going to share that with somebody else. Accountability, elite accountability, is through other people. Share it with a spouse, a business partner, or a mentor. If you want to hit me up, you can happy to share with me. I can give you some tips on it for free. I have no angle here. And what you want to do is you really want to share that, and so you can talk it through. You learn the most by teaching other people. That's what a lot of people say, that when you can teach it, you're going to learn it even more. Okay, so when you can show it to somebody else and explain, hey, this is why our revenue is going up $400,000, and this is the expenses that I'm going to see. I'm going to see a decrease of that $400,000, about 50% of that hitting my profit. So my profit's going to go up $200,000, but I'm really scaling out my business here. And you're explaining it to somebody so you can kind of fine tune, really, because when you start explaining to somebody, you might be like, oh, that doesn't make sense, I need to change that. Or they might ask a question that you didn't really understand when you were filling it out, so you might have to change something. But sharing it to somebody, even just bouncing it off somebody, is going to help you understand that, understand your process so much better. Okay, so share it with somebody in your family, a mentor. If your family is a little toxic, don't share it with the family, share it with a mentor. Hit me up. I'd be happy to have a phone call with you, and you can share your ideas with me. Number 5 here, look at your goals on a weekly and monthly basis moving forward. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to print out that P&L, right? And what we're going to do is we're going to break out that P&L, that profit and loss statement, from a month standpoint to a weekly standpoint, right? So if your profit of your business is $400,000-$500,000, you're going to divide that by 52 weeks, and you're going to divide that by 12 months, and that's what you're going to see on a monthly basis, okay? So if we're trying to divide that out, that means we need to write that down every month. Hey, I need to hit $24,000 this month on a weekly basis. That is going to be $6,000 a week. Okay, so where am I at this week? We only brought in $4,000. What happened? What's going on? Are we going to bring in more next week? What are we going to be at? So you need to understand where you're at. You need to have a scoreboard for your business. If you don't have a scoreboard for your business, you don't know if you're up or you're down or you're sideways or if you're even in the game. Okay, so you need to have a scoreboard, and the best way to do that is base it off your projections for the year. So when you're planning to make $400,000-$500,000 for the year, great. Print that out, hold yourself accountable. Look at that on a weekly and monthly basis. On a monthly basis, you should be tracking your cash flow. I say this in some of my other videos. Sit down, how much money came in, how much money went out. That's your cash flow, your profit. Track it all the way down to your personal expenses. So if you have a business, it should start way over here. Business income, expenses, personal income from the business income, expenses all the way down to profit and the money that you save that month. You should be tracking that on a monthly basis because it is a scoreboard and you need to know if you're scoring or not. You should be saving money every month. I know some businesses are hard if you buy a large piece of equipment. I understand that, but you can kind of break that down and depreciate it over 12 months if you really want to. Okay. So the next thing we need to do is we need to review, and this is the last thing, and I would say it's just as important of all the other ones. Actually, I have two more things here. Number 6, review your soft skills for the year. What that means is, where do you need to improve? And I'm not talking about finances. I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about the soft stuff, which is leadership, financial literacy, right? Is there something that you need to understand more about finances, public speaking, hiring, firing, showing up, working more hours, having more accountability and discipline when it comes to showing up at work? Sales, operations. What you're doing here is, what do I need to improve on a personal development standpoint, right? I always budget so much money a year that I'm going to spend on books, courses, and potentially conferences. I don't like conferences because it keeps me out of the office. But what webinars can I hop on? How much do they cost? What's going to get me to that next level? What do I need to work on to become a better person, personal development wise? Because that will lead to more money down the road. It's just really hard to quantify. But if you have it in your budget and you have some extra money, I would budget out so much money every year to personal development. So commit to spending more money this year on your personal development. Pick a category. Everybody has a category where they know that they need to improve on. Mine is networking, right? I should do a way better job at a local level where I live and networking with other business owners, sitting down with them, understanding their business, and really networking to see if there's any more opportunities. So I'm going to really work on finding a workshop for networking. How can you network where you're not coming across like a jerk or you're coming across salesy? How can you come across the best way? What's the best approach to networking? How do you reach out to people for networking? Those are the things that I want to focus on this year. So find something for yourself. Number 7 here, and this is super important if you have a family, but meet with your family and share goals. So everyone in your family needs to have goals. Everyone in my family, we have goals. And what do we want to achieve on an individual level? And we put a whiteboard right on the wall. And when people walk out of the door, you see everyone's goals, right? Okay, so I want to work out 5 days a week at minimum. I write down 2 or 3 goals under my wife's name. She puts 2 or 3 goals, and everybody puts 2 or 3 goals down. And it's just us two right now. But the nice thing is we're setting this tone right now. But in the future, when we have 3 kids, 4 kids, everyone will be setting down or having a goal that they walk by as they're walking out the door so they can understand, okay, I put that back in January. Yeah, I haven't been doing that at all. I haven't been working out maybe 1 day a week. What's going on with that? You set that up there. Why'd you set that up there? Why are you not holding yourself accountable? Let's get you to that next level, because so many New Year's resolutions and 2024 business planning just go out the window after a couple weeks because there's zero accountability. There's nothing in place that really hold yourself accountable. Okay, so you need to hold yourself accountable. Set tools in place that will keep you accountable, because that's what's gonna help you become more successful. Okay, so this is my business planning workshop. It's super important that you plan ahead for your business, because if you don't plan, the person who fails to plan fails. Okay, so you need to be planning ahead, get excited for the year, get fired up, and then you'll be surprised when it comes to December this time next year. You'll be sitting there and you're being like, wow, I can't believe we actually made it to this goal. Wow, how did we do that? And then you're going to plan for the next year. You're going to continue to grow, and then in 10 years, you're going to look back and be like, wow, look at how far we've came. So beautiful to see that. So if you like today's content, hit like and subscribe.